The popularity for social media sites has boomed since the introduction of Facebook and Twitter.
Probably more sociable because I meet up with people over it.
A lot less. It's a lot easier to just message someone than actually go and meet up with them. We're at a day and age now where you don't go out and see your friends anymore, you just Skype them or whatever, or you just send them a message on Facebook. There's no need to go out of your way to go and see them.
Let's look at 2 interviews from people that were brought up in the society with social media.
I do, a lot.
Yeah, I use social media sites.
Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, DeviantArt, Pinterest, Instagram.
Or use Facebook most. It's just convenient.
Say about 8 hours a day, probably more. On all of them, just between time, I'll check each one at a different time. I actually don't even want to think about the number. I just spend a lot of time on social media.
Probably about 2 hours a week.
My age, where I live, in the UK. Sometimes I've got pictures and stuff up. My interests, my hobbies, that sort of stuff. I feel it's stuff that I should feel comfortable to disclose, but I wouldn't put stuff like my exact address or more important details that people don't really need to know. At least 20 times a day, I'd say.
Quite about once a day.
Tumblr.
Why is that?
You can spend so many hours on it and never get bored of it. It's just so easy to scroll all day and reblog and like stuff.
Catch up with people I don't see very often.
To pass time. It's something to do when you've got nothing else to do. It's a good procrastinator as well. Not that I can think of. Obviously, everyone gets that snooty comment on Facebook, but that's not that.
How does that affect you?
It's not very nice, especially when you know the person and you have to see them on a daily basis or whatever. You're just why are you hiding behind a screen when you could have come and said that to my face?
Catching up with old friends.
I use it to keep in contact with family and friends, and also to go out and find new people that you might get along with in faraway places, particularly American people.
It's not that important. 6. I say not important and I give it a 6.
It makes me feel a bit more confident in getting myself across to other people that I wouldn't normally speak to. I find I'm a lot different online than I am in real life. When you're confronted with an actual person face to face, it can be a bit awkward and you kind of run out of things to say, whereas when you're hiding behind a screen you can say whatever you want.
Does that make you feel safer behind a screen then?
Somewhat, yeah, but then the internet has its own dangers, the same as if you went out to meet that person in real life. Oh goodness, you can do everything on the internet and it's quite scary.
Holograms. I reckon holograms would be the next big thing.
I can do it, but the urge is always there in the back of my head, I wonder what's going on this site, or I wonder what's going on that site.
I'd feel lost. Because I won't be able to see what everyone else is doing or what's going on in the world.
Now let's look at an interview with someone that was brought up without social media in their society.
Occasionally, generally look on Facebook to see what's happening, and I don't really post any of my own ideas on Facebook at all.
So you just use it to see what people
Just
are
to
about.
keep in contact with people. Yeah. Facebook, I've tried Twitter, but I couldn't get on with it. I understood it, but I couldn't be bothered to follow it. I can't be a follower of Twitter. And the trivia, I find Twitter quite trivial. A cracking media to keep in touch with people and actually post ideas. My dislike is people posting what I'm doing for breakfast or just stupid comments and then getting bombarded by that. Very mundane stuff. I think, you know, I don't want to know what you do. Wipe your bottom or something like that to do. Generally, just to see what other people are doing, yeah, and see friends in New Zealand and everything else. There's one there. I've got acquaintance down there, and to see anything like new technology.
All right, so you use it for news-based stuff.
Yeah, basically, there's a news-based media, proper media inventions and all that sort of thing. You know, a tech crunch. Altogether, maybe an hour. I spend probably 10 minutes a day, if that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you go on every day.
Well, it's me, yeah, because my phone's linked with it. I've got the app, and most of it comes up on Facebook. And if I find anything interesting, I'll click on it.
So if you didn't have your phone, you wouldn't.
Probably not. No, I think the smartphones are the way to go. And with technologies and with restaurants, businesses, they're all using Facebook as a form of advertising base. And I think that's the exciting thing with Facebook. It's giving you an app worldwide. That's a very hard question, actually. Well, with my life, I don't think it really affected it. All we had was TV and radio and advertising on that. And then you went to social events to meet your friends. Whereas now, and especially if you can't class Skype as social media, but Facebook and Skype are intertwined in one way. And that gives you, for families that emigrated and that sort of thing, it's a great thing. And it's a media which will give you access to different varieties of things. I don't know, it's a very hard question to put it. If life has changed, I don't think it's changed for me at all. It used to be a cigarette in the morning, now it's the phone, and what's happening on Facebook. Or do I have to need to post something on Facebook?
Yeah.
So, yeah.